This crazy manga is all about a world where these random monsters just pop up out of thin air, like it's no big deal. But don't worry, there's a group of total badasses who aren't afraid to take them on. And the queen of the group is Tao, who is drop dead hot and can kick some serious monster butt like a Grim Reaper. But in every group, there is a thick head, right? Well, that's where Alma comes in, who only knows how to find good food and take a solid nap. And here's the fun thing, he's actually half monster, fighting to save lives while also having a beastly side. Now let me introduce you to Tatsoko. This guy has a bit of a criminal mindset, always scheming to make some quick cash by taking advantage of others. But hey, he's not all bad, as he is a walking encyclopedia of the monster world and gathers all sorts of useful info for the group. But wait, there's more. As you keep watching, you'll meet a whole bunch of other heroes in this group. They're all in for some epic battles against these relentless monsters. So sit back and get ready to uncover all the excitement this manga has to offer. The story starts off by introducing the strange happenings on Gokurakugai 8th Avenue, where people have been mysteriously disappearing and dying. But no one really cares about it unless it affects them personally. The city remains unchanged. Everything looks the same. The story then shifts to the Gokurakugai Troubleshooter Agency, located above Hare Restaurant. In this setting, Alma and Tao have a conversation with their client, Mr. Cho, regarding getting rid of evidence related to his affair. Tao hands him the incriminating photos. They mockingly tell the old man that he can't keep going to shady brothels and expect to be photographed every time. Alma dismisses his talent as useless and calls him ill. Tao mocks him, asking if he desires to be featured in a weekly newspaper. She lights her lighter in front of Mr. Cho and urges him to quickly pay up. Driven by fear, he promptly agrees to the demand, ensuring a swift resolution. Mr. Cho quickly interrupts Tao's mention of the service fee by placing an envelope of cash on the table. Tao appreciates his honesty. In response, Mr. Cho praises their good conduct and gets up to leave the office. He expresses his gratitude to them and heads towards the doors. Just as he's about to depart, Alma's suspicions are raised, and he detects a lie in his intentions. He extends his hand towards the elderly man and seizes him from the rear. After examining it, he realizes that there is not enough money in the envelope. Although Mr. Cho claims Tao is overcharging, she remains steadfast and hints at possible blackmail by threatening to release damaging photos they collected. She stresses that their agency is the sole reliable choice for dealing with issues of his kind. Alma and Tao are currently underneath their workplace, the Hare Restaurant, indulging in Chinese noodles in a daring move. Yaya, who works as a waitress at the establishment, feels jealous of Alma's ability to eat heartily without gaining weight. She asks where all the food he eats goes, and Alma innocently replies that it usually goes to his butt. Yaya scolds Tao for not having manners as well, but Tao ignores her, too involved in reading the newspaper. The headline in the newspaper reveals a substantial number of 108 missing persons or reported fatalities. This causes Yaya to disclose details she's collected from clients, noting the discovery of deformed animal corpses in alleyways, mostly cats with large bite wounds and emptied of their blood. She observes that individuals have disappeared near these areas. Yaya, in turn, questions if it is their duty as troubleshooters to look into it. Tao calmly states that they are only contacted by people who need their services, and because they haven't received any requests, they haven't done anything. Yaya claims that finding their agency's office is difficult because of the noticeable mahjong parlor sign outside. Alma volunteers to design a new sign. Tao takes on the task of creating the sign and teases Alma for her drawing abilities by comparing them to those of a young child. Even though Yaya advises them to focus on the urgent matter first, rather than worrying about the signage, Tao asks about payment, and Yaya proposes they consider it a kind gesture, emphasizing the vulnerability she experiences as an attractive woman. During the conversation, Auntie, cooking in the background, jokingly scolds Yaya by tapping her with a ladle and urges her to return to her duties. Upon finishing tasks, Alma heads back to their residence and sees a handmade sign posted outside advertising a 5 million yen reward for a lost individual named Yukiharu Nishi. This idea raises thoughts on the potential food Tao could offer with such a significant prize. While thinking, he notices a chemical smell close by and decides to look into it, discovering someone in the act of spray painting graffiti. Alma steps in and lands a critical blow to the person's head. Realizing that both Tao and Auntie would ask for payment to fix the graffiti, Alma prevents the individual from continuing, aware of the possible outcomes. The person explains that the graffiti has a reason. It is connected to the lost individual he is looking for. He then reveals to Alma the hand-drawn poster, which is exactly the same as the one he had seen before, with a promise of a 5 million yen reward. Tao requests the young man to cover the cleaning expenses and suggests that he sells his expensive-looking clothes to contribute towards the total amount of 300,000 yen she indicates he owes. The boy refuses to give money and takes off his clothes, to which Tao suggests licking the wall to erase the poster he has made on it. Despite his initial hesitation due to Tao's intimidating demeanor, he eventually discloses that he's the heir of the Kyomin Zaibatsu and threatens to inform his parents of the extortion. He explains that he's working hard to save up money to locate his missing friend. Intrigued by his story, Tao inquires further, leading him to share a hand-drawn poster he has displayed outside. Frustrated by the situation, Luca Kyomin, as he introduces himself, discusses a recent case involving disfigured animal corpses in alleyways, information they have heard from Yaya. 2 days prior, Luca's friend Yuki had gone missing, and his hat was found near an alleyway he frequents, where a disfigured bird corpse was also discovered. Luca believes that the individuals responsible for the bird's death are also behind Yuki's kidnapping. He expresses doubt about sharing this information with Tao and Alma, which slightly upsets them due to his choice of words. Luca is being bullied by his classmates because of his rich upbringing, even though it's not something he has control over. His father disapproves of his passion for drawing, resulting in occasional disagreements over his manga supplies. While drawing outside one day, Luca's father cleans up his belongings, and he encounters Yuki, who appreciates his artwork. This is the first time someone has appreciated his artwork. Luca gestures to his tail, to which he responds in a shameful manner as no one enjoys interacting with the Beastman. Luca remembers his father's prohibition on being friends with beastmen of lower status, but he forms a friendship with Yuki, whom he sees as his first genuine friend. The graffiti created by Luca near the Gokurakugai troubleshooter agency serves as an initial way for them to bond and could assist in locating Yuki. Luca is committed to finding Yuki and is prepared to offer payment for assistance. He is prepared to rescue him on his own without any help. Alma and Tao express concern that the Gokurakugai district is too large, suggesting kids can't solve it alone. They offer assistance, introducing themselves as Alma and Tao. Luca finds them suspicious and asks the reason for their help. They tell him that they are the district's troubleshooters, so they will help him in trouble and show their agency's sign, which is drawn by Alma using cardboard. Looking at their sign, he calls them suspicious, frustrating Alma, leading to a small argument. He informs them that he is done with their foolishness. Having already shared his story and feeling no obligation towards them, Luca departs. Alma refers to him as a saucy little rascal and receives a reprimand from Tao. While in the office, Tao realizes that the disaster hour is nearing as darkness descends. Luca walks through the streets, reflecting on his recent meeting with Alma and Tao. He is happy that they didn't chase him or consider them suspicious, as he is unaware of any investigative organizations. Even though he has doubts about their trustworthiness, he admits that they were the only ones who genuinely paid attention to his story. This is even more remarkable considering the fact that he had been dismissed by the police. Interrupting his thoughts, he decides to return to the back alleys to inspect the wall paintings he created earlier. After carefully inspecting various alleys, he comes across a disturbing scene. Nearby, he notices a disfigured animal carcass accompanied by Yuki's hat. As he continues further, he spots Yuki, battered and sweaty, leaning against a wall for support. Luca's excitement at finding him is palpable, indicating his relentless search. However, Yuki, struggling to catch his breath, urgently warns Luca to steer clear of the alley. Luca is confronted by several crows. Before Yuki can elaborate, a formidable and monstrous creature emerges right before Luca's eyes. The creature emerges, shadowy and monstrous. 3 heads, muscular upper body, lizard-like tail, and jagged teeth, giving it a terrifying presence. As it lunges at a defenseless Yuki, Luca bravely hurls his bag, scattering money to distract it. Just before he's caught, Alma swoops in, rescuing Luca and praising his courage. Grateful and regretful, Luca asks Alma to help save Yuki. Alma nods, explaining the creature preys on those drawn to carcasses. Tao appears and fires a cursed shot from a specialized weapon, blasting off one of the creature's heads and forcing it to release Yuki. Luca is surprised when he witnesses Yuki slipping from the monster's hold, and he becomes worried about Yuki's well-being. Alma reassures him not to be concerned. After quickly removing the immediate threat, Alma grabs Yuki and hurries over to Luca, passing Yuki into his care hurriedly. At the same time, he gets into a fighting position, ready to face the creature directly. Alma comforts Luca, telling him not to be concerned, predicting that dealing with the situation would only require a brief 3 minutes. He quickly approaches the frightening beast and prepares to strike. He quickly moves toward the creature and promptly showcases his skills by swiftly deactivating one of its heads. Intrigued by the creature's identity, Luca seeks answers from Tao. She describes a creature known as a Maga, also known as disaster beasts, which are known for being powerful, dangerous, and feeding on human blood and flesh. She explains that Magas are monstrous beings created by reanimating the bodies of humans and animals, a surprising concept for Luca at first. She informs him that the creature he sees is not of human origin, pointing out the existence of hell and the potential for disasters if demons are real. Tao's explanation makes Luca ponder the nature of their roles. Tao verifies that they discreetly solve cases involving Magas, commonly known as Maga killers, as troubleshooters. She clarifies to him that they are assassins who track down wicked individuals. Luca voices worry over Tao's lack of fear while handling those creatures. Tao grins and mentions that fear was the initial emotion she eliminated. At the same time, Alma is battling the monsters and transitioning into his half-Maga form. While Alma fought the Maga, he gestured for Tao to intervene. Tao uttered Kai, causing Alma to transform into a demon-like appearance as he removed a karmic stake from his heart. One of his eyes becomes dark, and he charges angrily towards the monster. Luca asks in surprise if he is a human being. Tao realizes he is afraid and tells Luca that Alma is a special being, created from the combination of magical and human qualities. Alma has the unique abilities that come with being a Maga due to his bloodline, which makes him half Maga. Tao carefully led Alma to avoid his heart being overwhelmed by the Maga side, since his blood is neutral and does not possess any inherent virtue or evil. Alma desires to be the person in whom Tao has faith. This was his chosen way of life. He desires to be able to claim he was not mistaken. He promises to personally eliminate every one of the monsters. Alma easily defeats the Maga with one powerful blow after undergoing a transformation, which makes it disappear instantaneously. He transforms back into a human by putting the karmic stake back into his heart. Alma approaches Luca and informs him that the case is over, then suggests taking Yuki to the hospital. Filled with appreciation and sentiment, Luca embraces his passed-out friend Yuki and tearfully expresses his gratitude to Alma and Tao for their courageous help. After the fight, they chill in their workplace, chatting about possessing 5 million yen and enjoying a barbecue. Tao is willing to cover the expenses if he has a lot of money to spare. Alma chuckles, thinking about the potential value of the office walls if he pursued a career as an artist. Tao, as usual, is engrossed in the newspaper and not paying attention to him. Alma yells out once more that he requires a break. Later on, Luca pays a visit and inquires about their business performance while also presenting a box of donuts, which immediately caught Alma's eye. Luca offers to repay the money lost during the incident, but Alma and Tao decline, saying they don't charge for cleanup and won't press charges for the graffiti. Instead, they commend Luca's effort to find Yuki and suggest he treat them to a meal once his art gains recognition. Wanting to keep his dignity, Luca asks about the office sign Alma made, only to learn it was destroyed by rain. He then leads them outside to reveal a surprise: a custom metal sign he crafted with their company's name and logo. Alma is thrilled, recognizing the symbol he once carved, meaning solution. After some playful banter, Alma agrees to visit Yuki at the hospital, with a stop for food first. Later, Alma is sleeping peacefully in his bed. As some time has passed, he is woken up by Tao, who tells him that they are leaving. Alma yawns and questions if it is work-related. Casually, she mentions that they are heading back to their house. They stroll side by side along a narrow passage, chatting casually about popping into a convenience store to purchase cigarettes. Upon reaching a location, Alma loudly announces their presence. Upon arrival at the building, Alma informs Tao about his victory in a game and inquires about what she will be providing him in the future. After a period of walking inside the building, they arrive at the headquarters of the Suraji Anti-Maga organization and eagerly walk through the door. Yuki warmly welcomes them with embraces, noting Alma's growth. Although Dara provides a somewhat moderate greeting, Alma and Tao embrace her warmly. While undergoing a blood draw, Alma experiences discomfort and Dara offers support by holding his hand. Alma expresses dislike for it as it makes him uncomfortable, and he would prefer to be cut open instead. Yuki advises him to give it his all since he's dealing with a pain malfunction. This ranks in Alma's top 3 of things he despises. Yoki justifies the necessity of regular checkups and blood samples by explaining that Alma's blood is being utilized to make ammunition for Teo's weapon. Next, Yoki displays his recently made gauntlets, jokingly prompting Teo to test them out. Dara also talks about the gear she recently designed. Following the blood draw, Alma remains lightheaded, and Dara recommends that he take a rest. Alma sadly acknowledges that he will have to continue getting his blood drawn for the rest of his life. Tao tells Alma that once they defeat the troublesome Maga, they won't need to draw more blood or use weapons because there will be no more calamities. It lifts Alma's spirits, and he shows respect for Teo's brains, but Tao sadly labels him as foolish. Tao asks why Tatsuomi is not present, and Yoki discloses that he got details from Tatsuomi regarding a situation with a cemetery in the southern Fudo district. Individuals have been vanishing under mysterious circumstances, leaving behind their possessions. The age, gender, or sex of the victim is irrelevant to the abductor. According to Tatsuomi's report, the perpetrators are clever and use the remote setting to avoid being caught. Tao inquires Yoki about the price of the information obtained, and Yoki discloses that Tatsuomi charged him twice as much as the original cost. Tao observes that Tatsuomi consistently deceives with his fixed price of 5,000 yen for information, and she wishes she had enough money to cover it. Alma looks through his bag of food supplies to recover from his sickness by eating a lot in order to regain his strength for the upcoming mission, as informed by Tatsuomi. Dara is taken aback by the numerous food items she finds in his backpack, which she had been curious about. Tao suggests eating at a slow pace as Yoki appreciates his preparations. Yoki and Dara both say goodbye and wish them a safe journey. Both Alma and Teo make their way to the southern Fudo District Cemetery and bid farewell to Yoki and Dara. Upon nearing their destination, they are welcomed by foul odor and darkness. Tao and Alma arrive at the southern Fudo District Cemetery, where they come across a young man named Isato holding a book. Isato is on his way to visit a special grave, and Alma asks him for directions to the inner part of the cemetery. Isato inquires about the recent rumors of people disappearing, to which Alma nonchalantly responds. Isato smiles and mentions that he's not afraid, but he does have loved ones to worry about. As they all walk in the same direction, Alma suggests joining Isato since they have some free time. Together, they reach the Amadera family grave, where Isato lights candles and offers prayers for his late grandfather buried there. His grandfather is the person in the grave, and he shares with Alma and Tao that his grandfather was murdered. Alma instantly offers his help to find out the culprit, flaunting that they are problem solvers so he can seek their help. Isato giggles and thanks Alma for his kindness, but rejects his offer to help him find his grandfather's murderer. Upon Alma's query, he explains that his grandfather was killed by his father, who also passed away in jail later due to illness. His father's greed for insurance money leads him to commit the crime. He calls his father the worst and wishes for his father to go away. Isato briefly pauses, realizing he is sharing too much, but Tao reassures him that their agency is here to listen, accepting cigarettes as a form of payment. Tao asks for cigarettes as payment for listening to Isato's story. Isato provides her a cigarette, which she instantly lights up and starts blowing into the air. She admires the soothing smell of smoke. They sit on a nearby bench, and Isato shares his difficult upbringing. He explains that his father never works, instead relying on his grandfather's money. As a minor, Isato is forced to work while enduring physical abuse if he speaks out against his father. Despite the hardships, he finds solace in his grandfather's support. One day, his grandfather's health deteriorated due to excessive work. His grandfather tells him not to worry, offering to go for a nice meal once he recovers. Isato takes away his cigarette, hoping that he will be able to smoke again. Until then, he will keep them away from him. Isato saves money to cover potential hospital bills. However, his father forcibly takes the money, leaving Isato shocked. His father tells him to get away after snatching his money, leaving Isato scared to the point that he couldn't say anything. He reminisces about a time when he bought his grandfather's favorite sushi to celebrate his middle school graduation. Sadly, upon returning home, Isato finds his dead grandfather with his father nearby. Isato is surprised to see his grandfather's mouth filled with a cloth and asks his father about what he did wrong. His father ignores his grandfather's passing, leaving Isato to mourn quietly. His father displays no regret for his behavior, referring to his grandfather as a worthless elderly individual and requesting payment from Isato in order to consume his meal. Isato's father persists in treating him poorly, demanding his salary. Isato sees his grandfather being killed by his own father. Reflecting on the difficult times, Isato wishes he had stood for himself. Alma comforts him by stating that he shouldn't feel guilty for everything, as his kind personality often leads him to take responsibility. Alma feels confident that Isato's grandfather would be in agreement. Isato thinks that his grandfather may have had similar feelings. He stands up to head to work, feeling a sense of relief from expressing his emotions. Alma mentions that he doesn't appear as young as others his age and suggests not to stress about it, assuring him of his availability whenever he needs him. He gives Isato a tissue pack with their business information, and Isato goes to give back the borrowed bucket. He tosses the water into the grave and then turns around to head back. As he walks away, pondering Alma's words, he believes his grandpa would agree that he is not weak, but rather kind, and that without him, Grandpa could have lived longer. Isato's thoughts are broken by sounds emanating from bushes at a distance. Out of nowhere, Maga launches an attack on him. Maga approaches him and reaches out to grab Isato's neck. Alma quickly comes to Isato's assistance, rushing to help him. Isato is surprised to see Alma, and Alma apologizes, promising to explain later. Alma is thrilled that the Maga has finally been released, as he was tired of waiting for so long. Alma asks Tao to chant for Kai to personally defeat the Magas. Removing the crystal from his heart, he goes through a partial Maga transformation and swings his weapon overhead. Isato is shocked to witness the blood pouring from Alma. Maga is displaying its full strength and is prepared to confront Alma. Alma effectively defeats a Maga. While observing the fight between Alma and the Magas, Isato anxiously asks questions about these beings. Tao finds it annoying when people constantly question her and clarifies that these beings are known as Maga or disaster beasts, created for reanimated bodies, occasionally able to communicate. Isato is worried about Alma battling the monsters by himself. Witnessing Alma's transformation into a half-Maga, with blood pouring out, leads Isato to ponder. He questions whether Alma is still a human being, but Tao assures him that Alma is human, just not like everyone else. The Maga, who is still partially aware, wonders why Alma, a fellow Maga with similar blood and abilities, is rescuing humans despite being a Maga. He is shocked that Alma chose to side with the humans instead of saving his fellow Calamity. In the meantime, Alma has gotten rid of all of them except for one. He is deliberating on whether to end its life as it is just a baby Maga. At that moment, the Maga drops to its knees and begs for mercy, vowing to no longer cause harm to humans. Alma states that if it is able to speak normally, it must beg for its life. Monster describes how a human manipulated its body and revived it. It is a creature that needs to consume humans in order to stay alive. If it doesn't consume food, it will die due to a lack of nourishment. Nevertheless, Alma, unwilling to hear, hits its head, stating that they are fated to be eradicated. Maga, who is lying on the ground, continues to groan in pain. Isato is rendered speechless and senses that something is not quite right. Unexpectedly, he hears Maga calling out his name, which catches him off guard. The beheaded Maga attempts to flee and shouts Isato's name for assistance. With her gun, Tao watches over Maga while being with Isato. Isato is taken aback to realize that the dead body in front of him is his abusive father, and the fact that the corpse knows his name only adds to the shock. Tao explains that these memories are leftovers from before his father passed away, not his father's real presence. The Maga pleads, claiming family ties and trying to justify its actions, saying it killed Isato's grandfather for his sake. Hearing his father's Maga plea, Isato recalls his grandfather's smile. Isato confesses that he was more afraid of his father than the demons. Overcoming his fear, he stammers out that his father's influence tied him down, causing suffering and killing his desire to go to school and live with his grandpa. He rejects the Maga's claims of family, expressing his desire to escape that life. Alma seizes the opportunity and strikes Maga down while it curses Isato, ultimately ending the creature's existence. Once Alma removes the karmic stake from his chest, he returns to his human form. He informs Isato that it is okay to feel angry and suggests to him that a life full of regrets is not satisfying. He advises Isato to release feelings of guilt related to his grandfather and take charge of his own life, free from the weight of the past. Alma suggests that Isato might be able to offer his grandfather an apology in the afterlife at some point. This feeling touches Isato, causing tears to well up in his eyes. He nods with a smile and shows appreciation. Alma and Tao have safely made it back home and are lovingly welcomed by Yoki and Dara. Yoki inquires if they will be staying overnight, but is disappointed to learn that they just paused for a meal. The pair is shocked when they are handed the invoice from the cleaning team showing 6 zeros. It is clear to see the surprise shown on their faces. They hadn't expected those graves to be so expensive, despite being composed of only rocks. Even though it will be costly, Yoki tearfully assures them that their safety is the top priority and he is prepared to cover their expenses. The scene transitions to a young woman, approximately in her mid-20s, attempting to escape from an unidentified man who is strangling her, leaving visible marks on her neck. The man's demeanor appears sinister as he observes the woman's demise and her collapse. The narrative then shifts to a bustling day at Hare restaurant. Alma is presently stepping in, supporting Yaya and Auntie. He is swiftly managing cooking orders in the kitchen with Auntie. He is frustrated that they are always busy when he comes for help. Auntie advises him to put in more effort to settle his outstanding bill. Meanwhile, Yaya is expertly executing orders from different tables. After a tiring cooking session, Alma, drained and feeling fatigued, returns to their office located directly above Hare restaurant. He is mildly amused by how Auntie and Yaya adeptly manage their busy establishment with just the two of them. Tatsumi, an informant, gives him a welcome, and they exchange some light banter, and Tatsumi brags that he was alone with Tao. Alma ignores his nonsense and asks him the reason for his visit. Tatsumi playfully responds that he is here to see Tao, to which Alma angrily tells him to stay away from Tao. Tatsumi then informs that he has brought something, and then excitedly shares a piece of information typically priced at 5,000 yen, but due to his fondness for Tao, he lowers it to 3,000 yen and playfully strikes poses in front of her. Alma furiously grabs him by his clothes and tries to take him away from Tao. She recalls that Yoki was crying for high prices, but he isn't a girl, so he doesn't get these favors. Tatsumi takes the money and thanks Tao. She looks at the picture of a hanging dead body. The case revolves around seemingly random bodies found hanged at Meido Shrine in Gokurakugai 7th Avenue. Tao wonders if the perpetrator might be a deviant individual with artistic inclinations, but Tatsumi dismisses this notion, reasoning that if that were the case, the Maga would have already devoured the bodies, but none of the hanged bodies were eaten. Tao suggests that a more advanced entity that can control calamities is responsible. Tatsumi agrees with her and also provides another piece of information costing 1,000 yen. Tao quietly looks at him and quickly grabs the photos from his hands. Examining them closely, she observes that the pictures show victims, primarily women, with unique handprints on their necks. The attacker seems to have strangled the victims with their own hands before hanging them like ornaments, a method unusual for Magas, who typically kill and eat humans. Tao suggests it's as if the bodies were displayed for someone, and all the victims are female. Tatsumi hints that the culprit might be the person Tao is searching for. When Alma asks for more details, Tatsumi teases that Tao might not trust him enough to share everything, and demands a payment of 1 million yen before revealing more. That really angers Alma and he labels him as a miserly jerk. Tatsumi ridicules Alma for not having enough money. Their argument ignites another lively debate. Tatsumi teases Alma for staying quiet and munching on all the snacks. This makes Alma angry, and he confesses to consuming all the food that was on the table. As Tao becomes more knowledgeable about the case, she chooses to explore the location with Alma. Although she asks him to join, Tatsumi refuses due to his dislike of blood and similar things. Alma and Tao have arrived at the place where the reported hangings are happening. They sense that no one is watching in this area. Looking around, they observe that the Meido Shrine is situated in a small area with buildings erected around it. They started exploring the area, having a conversation about their mutual disbelief in God. Tao instructs him to end the conversation and start working. However, Alma frequently rings the bells at the shrine. He goes on to ring the bell and says a prayer to help speed up their search for the Magas connected to the case. All of a sudden, a sound catches their attention and a group of Magas comes out from the entrance of the shrine. Alma's belief in God has grown recently, which Tao doesn't share. They take on their battle positions, Tao said Kai, causing Alma to shift into his semi-magic form. Tao aims her unique gun at the Maga as well. Alma is in front of a group of Magas who are shouting with excitement because they have finally discovered food after being hungry for some time. The intense fight between Magas and Alma has commenced, with both of them surrounding him on all sides. Alma battles the Magas using a technique similar to baseball and strikes each one with her weapon. He leaps up and strikes with maximum force. Tao cautions him against breaking them as well, so Alma gestures towards the broken Shiza. They feel irritated by the excessive presence of others, which is becoming a nuisance. Tao mocks Alma by saying he can't do things by himself. She uses her sharpshooting abilities to systematically eliminate the creatures, often with deadly shots that cut off their heads. She shoots her unique weapon in all directions to quickly eliminate a large number of enemies. With her gun and unique skills, she rapidly completes all of them. She casually smoked while delivering the last shot. Following the defeat of the Magas, Alma sought praise for his home-run approach to battling, but Tao noted his baseball-related comments suggested his lack of familiarity with the sport. After that, they casually light up a cigarette and start smoking. As they departed the area, Alma expressed a desire for some soki sushi due to a tuna fare he saw in a commercial. In the distance, the man introduced earlier observes them as they leave the shrine. Alma and Tao arrive at Harai restaurant, where they encounter Tatsuomi assisting Yaya and Auntie. Alma shockingly asks him about his presence. Tatsuomi tells him that he came here to admire Yaya working, but then he ended up helping her. Yaya is pleased with Tatsuomi's help and expresses her gratitude to him. Tatsuomi playfully remarks about wanting to be her husband, which leads Yaya to blush, but their flirting is promptly halted by Auntie. Back at the Gokurakugai troubleshooter office, Alma remembers a free taiyaki voucher from Adariya that is expiring that day. He notices that there is still some left and asks Tao if she wants anything, to which she refuses to get anything sweet. He hastily leaves Tao and Tatsuomi to catch up from the time left for the freebie. Tatsuomi inquires about the case's progress, and Tao describes it as a disappointment but with an unsettling element. She explains that despite there being numerous adversaries, they are weaker than expected. After the Maga gate disappears, they thoroughly search but find no results. This leads to the conclusion that they have been lured into a futile situation. Tatsuomi's response suggests a preference for encountering more fruitless scenarios, causing Tao's disapproval. He proposes the idea that the person Tao has been searching for might have transformed into a Maga, but Tao hasn't really thought about it much. Tatsuomi tells her to take her time, as there is no rush, and mentions leaving the agency and stopping by headquarters before bidding farewell to Tao. Alone, she appears lost in thought. Meanwhile, Alma is on his way back to the agency, carrying his snacks and looking forward to enjoying them while watching TV. Along the way, he decides to revisit the shrine to check on the cleanup. At the shrine entrance, he notices a man with his back turned toward him. Upon facing Alma, their eyes meet, and the man is met with Alma's question regarding his identity. He explains that he is not a suspicious person, mentioning that he was casually exploring and unintentionally ended up at the shrine. He notices a blue sheet covering one of the komainu and becomes curious about it. He shares his reasons for being there and starts wondering about shrines in certain places and why torii gates are so big. Despite appearing suspicious, he is clearly anxious about the situation. Alma assesses the situation by observing the man's behavior and sniffs him, indicating that the man is telling the truth. Even though he is in tears, the man tearfully confirms what he was saying. Alma comforts him and suggests that he should stop crying. Considering his age of 21, which is older than Yaya, Alma then offers the man a tissue pack containing the agency's contact information, assuring him that the Gokurakugai troubleshooter agency is available to assist him if he ever faced any problems. Curious about the man's distress, Alma inquires about the reason behind his tears. The man jumps in surprise as Alma suddenly speaks to him, clearly showing how easily he startles. He mentions that Alma's unexpected entrance caught him off guard while he is gazing at the snacks Alma holding in his left hand. In response, Alma teasingly calls him crafty. The man comments on the aroma of the snacks he's holding. Alma ponders whether to share his snacks and wonders how Tao would react. Eventually, Alma decides to offer at least one snack and asks if the man prefers sweets despite being an adult. When the man expresses his fondness for sweets, Alma gives him one, even though it causes Alma some inner turmoil. The man questions if Alma is really going to give him the snack, prompting Alma to hand it over with a hint of annoyance. With that, Alma bids farewell to the man, mentioning his plans to watch a show at 9 p.m. Before leaving the man by the shrine, Alma advises him to sit down while eating due to his apparent clumsiness. Alma also reminds the man not to get lost again, although the man clarifies that he wasn't lost in the first place. Alma then arrives at the agency and loudly announces his presence. Tao welcomes him back and informs him that he is late and has missed the show he had been looking forward to due to arriving after 9. He informs Tao about encountering an unfamiliar man at the shrine, whom he believes isn't from their usual circle. He describes the man as lost, easily emotional, and hungry. He shared a taiyaki with him, then seeks a compliment from Tao-san. She initiates a conversation with the man, while Alma focuses on getting the remote control. Alma asks her if he can change to channel 10, while Tao asks him if he found out he was. At the same time, the man Alma had previously encountered is about to enjoy his taiyaki when someone else walks up to him, saying they have been searching for him. He puts his hand on his shoulder, addressing him as Yoru. Yoru gazes at him and invites him to sit beside him. As he does, Yomi curiously asks where the food came from. With a calm tone, Yoru explains that he received it some time ago, hasn't touched it directly, and plans to hand it over to him. Yomi splits the snack in half and puts one piece in his mouth. He appreciates the flavor and gives the remaining portion to Yoru. He inquires about the giver of this rare item, as it's unusual for Yoru to be associated with someone. He mentions he does not know the giver's name, but he provides a physical description of Alma, a taller individual with red hair, and displays the tissue pack Alma had gifted him. Yoma comments that Alma is their point, and inquires about Yoru's opinion of him. He sees Alma as somewhat intimidating, but not necessarily a negative individual. Yomi inquires if Yoru can picture being friends with Alma, and he responds with doubt. Yomi states that they will become friends because they are both good people. Yoru is confused because he is aware that Yomi has not yet encountered Alma. As he eats his cake, he inquires about it from Yomi. He reveals that he has been watching Alma from the moment he was born. He refers to Alma rejecting him previously, but he plans to welcome him when they see each other again. Yomi stresses that he is prepared to meet Alma anytime, including right now, but Nei looks disappointed. Feeling bad, Tao hugs her, which only angers Nei, who calls her arrogant. Tao, confused, asks what she was supposed to say, and Nei points toward Dara and Yoki, hinting that she wanted a more affectionate reaction. Alma teases Nei, calling her annoying like a kid, sparking a playful argument that quickly turns into a fight. Tao, clearly irritated, calls them both annoying. Yoki steps in, apologizes for making them wait, and shares new information from Tatsuomi about Maga's appearing near the boarded-up shopping district in Sakamechi, Gokurakugai 10th Avenue. He mentions that some regular shoppers have gone missing and considers assigning the case to Alma and Tao. However, Nei volunteers, promising to handle it alone and minimize any property damage. When Yoki asks Tao for her opinion, she agrees to let Nei take the mission. Nei excitedly asks Yoki why he doesn't give it to her in the first place. Alma questions if Nei has nothing better to do, to which she reacts. Tao chimes in, jokingly asking her to buy cigarettes and Alma some steamed buns. Nei clarifies she is heading out for work, asking why they are making her run their errands, but Alma remarks that she has taken their job. Nei defends herself, highlighting Tao's smoking habit and implying that she's trying to get a minor to buy cigarettes for her. Alma brushes aside legal concerns in the town, hinting that there are no laws in this city. Alma suggests going with Nei, who hesitates and advises him not to come along. However, Alma persists, stating that they will continue together until they part ways, and requests Tao to persuade Nei. Tao mentioned that she would reward them with meat from Yoki's supplies if they worked together harmoniously and successfully completed the task. Nei and Alma are instantly delighted by this idea, causing them to stop arguing immediately. Both of them depart following another disagreement. The adults Dara, Yoki, and Tao are the only ones remaining at the home base. Yoki is shown crying, having fallen into Tao's scheme to spend money on meat. Alma and Nei are currently on a train heading to the Sakamachi shopping district. During the ride, Nei inquires about Alma's reason for accompanying her. Alma believes that having two individuals on the task would lead to a higher level of efficiency. Nevertheless, Nei questions his effectiveness, stating that he does not have the required skills. This statement elicits a surprised reaction from Alma. Nei continues by pointing out Alma's lack of knowledge on the subject, implying that Tao has not kept him informed. Nei identifies this as a weakness of Alma. At their home base, Tao, Dara, and Yoki talk about how Alma is unaware of his weaknesses, recognizing that Dara has consistently been there to help him after every mission. Yoki points out that Alma teaming up with Nei offers a beneficial chance for him to learn. Tao stresses that Alma will become more aware of his weaknesses through gaining first-hand experience rather than just listening to lectures. Tao thinks that Alma's mind no longer holds the idea of weaknesses. Back on the train, Alma acknowledges his limited understanding of his own shortcomings. Nevertheless, he changes the subject to talk about his recent feat, a home run during their latest mission with Tao. Nei cuts him off, changing the subject. She predicts that Alma will soon realize his weakness, causing Alma to accuse her of being indirect in her communication. Upon reaching the shopping area, they discover that it is completely empty. Nei recommends moving forward, but Alma highlights the absence of any Magas. Then Nei shows a vial with her blood, stating that her blood is appealing to Magas, making it more delicious for them compared to other humans' blood. Maga gates rise from the ground as she tosses the vial, revealing a group of Magas. Alma observes that they are similar to fish gathering around bait. Nei is eager to chop them down. Alma gets ready for battle and attempts to recover his magic stake, but he is unable to take it out of his chest. Nei reveals that Alma's weakness is this incapacity. Alma is left surprised because he cannot remove the karmic stake without Teo's consent, which is indicated by the word kai that Teo utters for Maga-related tasks. He is shocked to learn that he is unable to combat using Teo's assistance. Nei now takes a fighting posture, encouraging Alma to observe her, the elder, in combat and stressing the importance of staying alert. She warns him to avoid blinking, stressing that it will be finished very quickly. With skill, she defeats the Magas using her katana and puts it back into her sheath when the Maga gate is closed. Alma is impressed by her presentation, but mistakenly refers to her as Kid once more. Without realizing it, Nei remains in the glow of her compliments, listing her other accomplishments and boasting about being the quickest in Suragi. She describes herself as admirable, generous, and reliable. Alma is fully aware of how great she is and acknowledges that he is unable to accomplish anything by himself. He questions why she is so addicted to praise, and Nei confesses that she desires constant approval. She requires steady praise to keep her motivated and working diligently every day, minute, and second. Alma jokingly calls her an attention seeker, sparking their playful kid banter once again. Afterward, at a dinner office event, Alma and Nei engage in a playful argument over the meat. Tao and Dara nonchalantly enjoy their meal as Yoki laments the money used to buy the meat, with a tear falling down their cheek. Another day, Alma wakes up at 8:50 a.m., removes his blankets, and heads to Tao's room. She is still asleep, and since they have no plans for the day, Alma wants to air out the blankets and do some laundry due to the nice weather. When Tao wakes up, she starts smoking, but Alma asks her to smoke on the sofa instead. Around 10 a.m., Alma works on crossword puzzles while Tao reads the news and helps Alma with parts he doesn't understand. At 11 a.m., Yuki and Luca arrive at the Gokurakugai troubleshooter agency to let them know that Yuki has been discharged from the hospital. This leads to a small argument between Alma and Luca. At noon, Yaya brings food from the Hare restaurant to the office and reminds them it's going on their tabs. By 1:15 p.m., Alma is watching a show about making takoyaki at home, which catches his interest. He phones Tatsuomi to ask about it, and Tatsuomi is initially upset, thinking it's Tao calling. The conversation involves whether all individuals in Kansai own a takoyaki maker, and Tatsuomi states that not everyone does, although he personally has one. In the end, he decides to deliver it to Alma for her to use, particularly after discovering that Tao is also interested in trying it out. Alma completes drying the blankets at 2:30 p.m. At 4 p.m., they depart in their truck and come across Isato working as a construction worker, whom Alma encourages as they drive past. They reach the main office at 5:15 p.m., and Alma persuades Nei to give the takoyaki maker a try, despite her initial reluctance. Tatsuomi arrives at 6:15 p.m., bringing the takoyaki maker, and together they have fun making and eating takoyaki. Even though Alma and Nei's efforts are unsuccessful, Tatsuomi's accomplishments are notable. Yoki and Dara also give compliments to the takoyaki. Tao samples the takoyaki prepared by Alma and Nei, and her liking for it brings them feelings of pride. At last, Yoki and Dara praise Tatsuomi's ability in the kitchen. A week ago, Alma and Tao were investigating a case involving cannibalism. They examine the location where a deceased person has been bitten, as well as several other sites. This is the fourth occurrence of such incidents. The narrative then shifts to a mysterious individual dressed in a dark hoodie and a pleated skirt, appearing to be a woman. This person is seen walking away from view into an alleyway. Tao and Alma are currently in Tatsuomi's office. He shares information related to the cannibalism case and offers Tao a reduced fee of 3,000 yen for his services. Alma questions the fairness of this fee reduction, suggesting that everyone should be charged the same amount. Tatsuomi explains that his policy involves accepting payment in cash from those who can provide it. The discussion then moves on to the details of the case. He shows the pictures of the victims, who are all men. Photographs depict 3 deceased men, each found in various alleyways along Gokurakugai 10th Avenue. The cause of death is consistent across all cases. The first individual in the photographs passed away 2 weeks ago, the second one last week, and the most recent victim just yesterday. In all instances, the victims sustained bite wounds that lead to significant blood loss, causing shock before their demise. The injuries are extensive, affecting the neck and arms, but oddly, the palms are always bitten through. This prompts Alma to jokingly try to imitate the action, highlighting the unique injuries even more. Tatsuomi discloses that the victims have something in common, but learning this detail requires a price. Tao jokingly proposes that he should have been enchanted by her beauty instead. Tatsuomi goes along with it and expresses regret for his playful remark, then reveals that all the victims have backgrounds in criminal activities such as sexual assault, and extortion. All of them have committed serious crimes against women. The similar way in which the assailant goes after the victims, stopping after only a couple of bites, sparks doubts that these individuals are being intentionally targeted. There is a chance that the person connected to the Myoto Shrine incident is the same one involved, or at least a comparable figure. An ongoing trend is indicated by the frequency of one murder per week. After talking to Tatsuomi, Alma and Tao choose to head back home after finishing their investigation by taking a look around the area. Scene transitions to the midst of a group of people. A woman appears slightly uncomfortable as she lightly taps her head. At that moment, Alma comes up to her and asks if she has a headache. Surprised, she pushes him back and cautions him to keep his distance or face the repercussions. Instead of moving away, Alma pulls her closer in order to recapture her attention. This surprising action causes her to hit him. Alma is momentarily taken aback. She then apologizes and assures him that she is fine, to which Alma responds by noting that women often say they're fine when they're not, a piece of insight he has picked up from Yaya. With that, he leads her away, sharing that he is taking her to a nice place. They arrive at a restaurant on 10th Avenue and take a seat. Alma mentions that she appears quite hungry, and this place is great as it's not very crowded, which is why he chose to bring her here. He suggests that she serve herself and begin eating the food. He inquires about the food he ordered, to which she responds with a sad expression. As he gazes at her face, he inquires whether she has any allergies, and suggests that she can leave it while he finishes the rest. The woman finds it somewhat challenging to eat for reasons unexplained, yet she still appreciates Alma's gesture and consumes the food. Alma recalls Teo's words about asking the names of those who look shady. As they eat, they introduce themselves. The woman's name is Kanata, and Alma playfully remarks that she is an unusual individual, encouraging her not to force herself. After the meal, Alma intends to depart, but Kanata halts him, expressing her desire to have dinner with him again. Alma readily agrees. Over the following 3 nights, they continue to meet at the same spot. On the 3rd evening, Alma offers to walk her home, citing advice he has received from Yaya regarding girls being walked home. Kanata agrees, and as they stroll, she inquires about Alma's occupation. He reveals that he works as a troubleshooter in Gokurakugai, and he has provided his contact details in the tissue pack he has given her. Kanata is intrigued by his work behind the scenes, focusing on taking down wrongdoers. In turn, Alma then asks Kanata about going to school and jokingly moves on to questioning why she is often seen out late at night. She acknowledges that she does not enjoy being at home because of feeling lonely. Seeking comfort in the outdoors allows her to break away from her loneliness. After learning this, Alma proposes having dinner together once more and even suggests she visit their workplace or accompany him to an arcade, despite his incompetence at crane games. The two of them start talking about a common interest in the show Shijime-san, focusing on a character called Michelangelo. Their lively conversation solidifies their new bond, with Alma praising Kanata's smile as her most striking quality, in line with Yaya's suggestion. Kanata separates from Alma as she leaves him at a sidewalk near her house, reassuring her to reach out whenever necessary, due to his role as a troubleshooter. The focus changes to Kanata throwing up in a bathroom sink, where a man walks in and comes closer to her in an unsettling way, making unwelcome moves despite the age gap. Rejecting his advances, Kanata bites the man's hand, making blood spill. Kanata's response causes him to run away, impelling her to leave him. The man refers to Kanata as a monster, claiming she acted inhumanly in self-defense. Meanwhile, Kanata runs away from the scene, repeatedly saying sorry.
Here I am, know it's been a while.